Well, US markets are set to close mixed today. The S&P 500 is slightly higher while the Dow Jones is lower. We've had poor manufacturing reports and housing sentiment, although there has been a $25 billion deal in the biotech sector. Now we're joined by Mark Newton of GreyWolf Execution. Mark, we've had a lot of poor economic data recently. The weather's been blamed. Markets are fluctuating a lot, even on a daily basis. There seems to be a lack of direction in markets. Do you see any strong or obvious catalysts on the horizon?
No, I don't know about immediate catalysts. I mean, the market has basically regained much of what it lost since early January. The S&P has been in striking distance to the former highs. What's interesting is that 10-year Treasury yields and 30-year yields have moved lower, making it seem like it's not just an anomaly that the weather was poor and therefore economic growth is weak. I mean, the 10-year moved back all the way from 3% down below 270 today. Equities have been sort of following lockstep with Treasury yields, except for today when equities are higher by a tad, but yet Treasury yields continued to drop a bit, and so that's interesting.
So if it isn't just the weather, as you're suggesting, if we continue to have this kind of trend in data, what does that mean for markets?
Well, it's tough to pinpoint market direction based on economic activity. It's always been really difficult for people to say there's this correlation where the economic data turns down and so markets follow. If anything, it's almost vice versa. Economic data tends to follow markets higher, and when the markets turn down, economic data gradually will roll over. And so it'd be interesting if data would continue to weaken even if it starts to warm up, and that's what is worth noting. For now, the Fed is really not going to alter its course, I think. They've come out and publicly said the tapering is going to continue, and they seem to be comfortable with the market's reaction with that.
Okay, and we've had some interesting upward moves in commodities. How much significance would you place on that?
I place a lot of significance, and it means that a lot of what the world is thinking about deflation probably is not true as commodity prices continue to rise. We saw nearly a break of a 2-year downtrend happen 2 weeks ago, and when we continue to see upward movement not only in energy but in soft commodities, we saw recently the move in gold higher, which seems to be stalling a bit, but in general commodities seem to act fairly well.
Okay, thank you, Mark. That was Mark Newton of GreyWolf Execution, and I'm Searle for TheStreet.